Welcome to Goonie's World. My name is Goonie, also known as Colin, and I am joined, as always, by Meanie, also known as Ryan.
Oh, hello.
And Loonicorn, also known as Lynn.
Howdy.
And I believe it's called our game conductor for this session is Johnny Farrell, also known as Sean.
Hey, and I am game conductor. Now conduct us through a game of Sky Whalers of Jupiter. Jupiter. Baroque sci-fi adventure in the skies of Jove. We will hunt the majestic sky whales and discover strange secrets. This is from Cosmic Orrery Games. It's a pay-what-you-want version at itch.io that I got, and I liked it. It says it's in the prototype stages and subject to change. We'll someday have an expanded, fancied-up version, but we're getting it early. It acknowledges being, quote, bastardized, unquote, from Electric Bastion Land by Chris McDowell. And at 6 pages long, it's certainly in the rules-light category of games. But a year for the setting is never given, but despite the word Baroque, I think more of an 1800s vibe is implied. And in this alternate reality, the solar system's already being explored by intrepid colonial mankind. And among its conquests is the mighty planet Jupiter. And the precious ambergris and the buoyancy sacs of the sky whales have a huge market on Earth. And a few brave souls make their living hunting those sky whales. So let's meet a few of them right now. So you guys can tell us who you are. We don't need to know your stats per se, but you know what your background is and anything cool you've got and anything else you think we need to know. And we'll start with Ryan, since I've known him the longest.
Well, that's as good a criteria as any. So, my name is Philip Edward Glass, I should say. And, yes, well, I was an adventurer for quite many years upon Earth, but decided that it would be perhaps more profitable to take to the skies and hunt or track down the sky whales, sailing about the atmosphere of the Jovian Jove. And so, you know, as an adventurer, I have a compass. It is my most treasured possession. It directs me flawlessly wherever I need to go.
You are quite posh, my friend.
That was the idea.
All right, and Colin, I've known for second longest, so why don't you tell us about your character?
Yeah, so I'm going to pronounce this Xavier Barbeau, but you don't have to pronounce it that way. Yes, he is a deep atmosphere diver, and my accent is going to meander like the sky whales of Jupiter, because he's lived in all kinds of places, maybe even one of the other planets. I don't know. I didn't ask you ahead of time, like, what's the deal with the other planets. Thought maybe he could have lived on Venus for a time.
Well, there are
he's certainly from Earth originally.
And almost nothing is given us about the other planets in the game itself, but things are implied because there are some Venusians, you know, or that type of thing. So, yeah.
So maybe he lived there for a while and picked up some weird accents, and but he has a reinforced atmosphere suit and a stretchy cable that makes him a deep atmosphere diver, and he has I'm going to say he's kind of balding, dark hair. He's got a mustache that's like one of those that's shaped like an inverted V.
Yeah.
And he also likes to just always have a cigar in his mouth.
Okay. Nice. And Lunicorn, Lynn, I've known you the least amount of time of everybody, even though it's still been a very long time. And so,
Yes, it has.
So,
It's been well over 10 years.
tell us about your character.
All right, well, I will be playing Dr. Ananias Abercrom, and it's Dr. Abercrom, not Miss, not Mrs., not Mrs. Doctor.
Oh, woman doctor. How lovely.
Yes. And let's see, I am primarily interested in gaining knowledge about exotic sky creatures that I cannot study on the Earth. Quite well educated, obviously, having traveled the world and published many papers. Some can say that I take things serious. I'm very serious and often take things literally. But some people find me a bore, although I am quite attractive. Although I am well-traveled and maybe seemingly uptight, I also, since I've lived so many places, I kind of live by the philosophy of do as the natives do. So I'm able to kind of fit in and go with the flow in situations that you would think would make her very uncomfortable, but she does fine. She just goes, do as the Romans do, that kind of stuff.
So, when on Jupiter,
yes.
act like a sky whale.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. And now, some of this may seem rather modern, as Ryan has already pointed out with his scorn towards women doctors. But, we're space exploring, so I took liberties. Anais is 5'9". She's slender but athletic, has long, wavy auburn hair. She's usually got that pulled away from her face. She wears great round, large glasses, kind of owl style, I guess. Style of dress is very pragmatic to whatever she is studying. So obviously now she will be wearing a space suit during this adventure. She does have several tattoos. They all are kind of a tribute. She's a zoologist. And so they're kind of a tribute. She was raised in Alaska, so all of her tattoos are kind of tributes to the native animals of Alaska. So she's on each shoulder blade. She's got facing each other a polar bear and a musk oxen. And she also has a tramp stamp of an orca.
Okay. Which is,
that's Anais Abercrombie.
that'll be a nice one, because that'll grow with her over the ages and still fit. And, yeah. Okay. Well, you put a lot of thought into this, and I appreciate that. You guys already know each other. You've been working together for a while. Collectively, you start 10,000 pounds in debt, British pounds. But you also collectively own an aerial bark. That's BARQUE, fancy name for a ship. Essentially an airship. And you own that together. I'm going to put you on the spot here, and we can spend the next 15 minutes talking about it, but in the back of your minds, be thinking of a name for your ship. Every ship needs a name, and you guys probably already had one, so you might want to be thinking about that. But it's currently docked at the magnificent floating city of Port Hallwark, which drifts on its buoyancy engines among the swirling, almost psychedelic clouds of Jupiter. Imagine the sky have a really Barbarella or the old early 80s Flash Gordon film, look to them with those churning, multicolored clouds. And this is a big floating city with many spires and towers sort of atop an inverted bowl. And many, many, many miles beneath the city, of course, is the deep atmosphere, where only the boldest men dare go, crackling with lightning and its crushing pressure storms. And above, the dim light from the faraway suns glinting off those spires and towers of the city. Most of those towers, by the way, have these horizontal struts jutting off of them where aerial barks are docked. So the whole place is just littered with barks and sky whalers right now. There's bridges and walkways and stairs connecting all these structures. And the city's very crowded with sky whalers for a reason, because the great pink and purple legendary sky whale Blubberella has been seen in the vicinity within recent weeks. And so people are crowding the region. There are several named sky whales that are legendary, and Blubberella is one of them. So that's why it's so crowded. But you three are here headed for the residence of your sometime employer, Lord Dol De Venus, who's, for a nobleman, is scandalously engaged in vulgar commerce. And he has employed you off and on in the past. So you're walking across a bridge that connects a big block of mercantile buildings to a tower with a cluster of mansions on it where Lord Dol De Venus lives. The street level is like, such as it is, it's like 600 feet below at this point. And there are plenty of Jovians going about their business, but you're the only ones on the bridge right this very second. And suddenly, though, 3 figures appear at the end of the bridge, the direction you're going. And they have the shiny skin and the cat-like eyes of Saturnians. One of them's carrying a grappling hook on a chain, and he's kind of swinging it around slowly, teasingly but threateningly. And another one's carrying a nasty scimitar, which he swirls around in his hand. And a third has a big overcoat, but he pulls a bulky scattergun out from beneath it. And he says with his hissing, lisping Saturnian voice, "We've been waiting for you. You're about to miss an appointment." And then there's movement behind you, and at the other end of the bridge where you came from, there's a 4th Saturnian who comes out with a big, wicked, hooked boarding axe. And now there's no rule for initiative in this game, but it's based on the Into the Odd family of games, where players generally go first. And you could tell that, unless you could talk or scare them off or talk them out of this, a fight is certainly in the offing. And you guys have the first turn. And, gee, what do you do? Who seizes the initiative and does what?
So, just to clarify, we're standing on this kind of bridge?
Yeah, a bridge with a very slight arch. And you're in the middle, basically. They waited till you got in the middle, and the 3 of them are at the end you were headed, and one of them's come up behind. And there's no one else on the bridge at the moment. But there are Jovians, elsewhere, nearby, within shouting and visual distance.
I think I can take care of these ruffians.
Oh, surely that won't be necessary. I don't think that there are going to be any trouble at all. Chaps, would you mind terribly just letting us pass? We haven't got any quarrel with you, and as you can see, I have a Frenchman and a lady with me. We are in no position to engage in violence.
Yeah, well, I don't know if charming them out is going to work. You might be able to scare them off, but I think with that you're going to get nothing but a sneer of derision from the Saturnians.
Well, right. So his intention was to get them to be sympathetic, but my intention was to get them to attack us.
Yeah, well, they're certainly going to do that as soon as they are able. But I'm going to let you guys go first. So let's see. How about Xavier? Xavier, however you're going to say it.
Xavier.
Xavier Barbeau. What about Xavier Barbeau?
Say that. So I guess I've only got this rigging knife for a weapon.
That's right.
But I've used it many times. I've been in lots of brawls, So he is going to lunge with that at whoever's standing the closest to me.
Yeah, well, they're about equally distant, but, and you'll have to run towards them. You can still run and attack on this turn. But a good target's always the guy who's doing the talking. That was the guy with the scatter gun. He's got the most threatening weapon. And,
I will run with my knife, pointed right at him.
All right.
Try to stab him.
Yeah, go ahead and roll your damage.
Do stab him, and then I just roll damage.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a D6, and I rolled a 2.
All right, nice. And, slice. See some blood arcing in the weird light of Jupiter. And, how about, Doctor? What is it? Abercrombie?
Abercrombie. You can call me Anais,
okay.
but other people
I have game conductor privileges.
Yes.
Yes. Well, Doctor.
So, Dr.
What do you do?
Abercrombie. I'm actually going to. She even has reasoning for this. I see these animals on the bridge standing before me. I think I need to net one of these. So rather than using the only thing I have that can damage, which is also a rigging knife, I'm going to net him with my handy-dandy zoologist
Well, I think
net.
that's very funny. I kind of pictured it as more of a butterfly net that you collect bubble birds and blimp frogs in, but it's kind of funny, though, to, shove it down over the top of his torso, right?
Exactly.
So that's totally within the spirit of the rules now. He's going to have to make a nimbleness roll to not let that happen. So, which guy were you doing it to? The same guy that Xavier just slashed at, or a different one?
I'm going to do it to a different one.
Okay, well, the guy with the nasty scimitar is over there, and there's also the fellow with the swinging hook and chain.
Well, I'm thinking, hook and chain sounds a bit nasty.
Yes, it does.
Let's get that guy under control.
Okay, well, luckily you had time to rush over there and try to net him, and he makes his roll. Now, his nimbleness is only 10, so he's going to make a 10 or less on a D20. I just got a 13, so at least for now, his top half is, and it's kind of the top half of his arms are somewhat pinned down by the net. It's kind of stretched over his face. I like the image of his flesh, sticking out between the little netting and little diamond shapes. It's really tight. And, I don't know exactly what Saturnians look like, but they're humanoid for one thing. They're not really animals, but they're all the.
Well, yes, yeah. I was more commenting about
their behavior and their character. I understand.
Rather, yes, their behavior. Yeah,
but he's at least momentarily. He's not going to be shooting anyone with that scatter gun. It's kind of facing downward now to his side. No, that was a different guy. You're doing the hook and chain. Hook and chain. Got it. Hook and chain is netted, and now, however, it will be their turn. I think the fellow with the nasty scimitar is going to... he's going to attack Xavier. Well, I don't know why I'm rolling to hit once again. And with that, he... oh, my goodness. Does a nasty 3 damage to your guts. We're taking away from our guts. And not so much hit points as endurance and dodging and the ability to withstand minor bumps and bruises.
Now, what did he get me with?
He hit you with a nasty scimitar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The fellow with the scattergun, who's already been hit, takes a step back and decides to fire that right into the group. He's actually hitting one of his friends as well, and does 3 points of damage to Dr. Abercrombie, and one of his compatriots who had the hook and chain takes another 3. Or he takes 3 himself. He hadn't taken any yet, which shows just how loyal these dirty Saturnians are to each other, and how they get carried away in the heat of the moment. Meanwhile, the fellow with the boarding axe, the hooked boarding axe, who had come up on the other end of the bridge, comes running across to attack Filbert. And he does, again, 3 points of damage to you, rolling a lot of 3s. And I believe that's everyone who can do something. Meanwhile, a crowd is starting to gather. You hear somebody's like blown a whistle for the Jovian police. The Jopo. Just thought of that. Someone's blowing a whistle for the Jopo, but obviously it's going to be a while before they can get here. You know, they got to run in here. So from wherever they're at and assemble. So we're in a new round and it's your turn. So who wants to go first this time? Let's switch the order. Let's start with... I saw Ryan's face move, though, so...
Well, I didn't even do anything except talk last round.
That's true, so... well, it was a beautiful speech, and now it's his turn, so what do you want to do?
Well, Philbert would like to... this axe guy has come running.
Oh, yes.
And he would like to kick the axe out of his hand and send it careening down far, far away.
He must make a nimbleness save to prevent you from disarming him. And, oh my goodness. He rolls a 20, which at first I got excited, but as we know, we want to roll low. This is a total failure. This is a critical failure. And I'm going to...
I kick the axe right into his skull.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say it does fly away, but it spins and grazes him, and it does damage to him on its way. And he will take 4 points of damage just from that. So it like spins back up, cracks him in the skull, then scatters off the railing of the bridge, and hopefully doesn't hit anyone 600 feet below.
And with that, I will add only that Filbert at this point takes on a ridiculous Victorian pugilistic stance. He looks like a complete idiot.
Right.
But he thinks he looks like
an upward-facing fist. Mind you, I'm matriculated at Oxford.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, totally. So, it'd be funny if he just suddenly matched it. You know, like he's also well, but he's not. He doesn't. Anyway, so how about you, Dr. Abercrombie? What do you do? What do you want to do?
So, I think this will work because of what Ryan just did. What is below the bridge? I mean,
600 feet of nothing. Maybe some other bridges crisscrossing every now and then down below.
All right.
Platform
well,
or two.
I'm going to take my net. I've got him caught up in my net, and I'm going to shove him off the side.
Okay, kind of push in with the pole.
Yep.
Okay.
Just push him with the pole, and
all right.
Just like he was a beast that I was trying to, get away from. And I generally don't kill beasts, which, is why I'm out of place as a zoologist. But the knowledge, the pursuit of these unknown creatures. Anyway, I'm throwing his ass off.
Well, he will have to make a vitality test to prevent from happening. He's pushing with his legs in his feet, and he rolls a 19, though. Gets to the end and falls off. Now, just for drama's sake, I think you got to grab that net, make a save, make a nimbleness save to grab your net, or it's going off with him.
Okay. 3.
Oh, nice. And
yes.
Just for fun, I'm going to give him a dex save. He's still going to be out of the fight, but I want to give him this dex save because he got that grappling hook to at least hang there and save himself. And he just rolled a 9, which is awesome. So unless somebody wants to specifically go and pry this grappling hook up, he's still not going to fight. He's going to hang down there and wait for this fight, But that's 1 down. And finally, going last this time, Xavier Barbeau, what do you do?
Well, that gives me an idea. I'm going to try to use my stretchy cable to, I'm going to, kind of try to wrap it around him, swing it at him and have it, circle and tie up his arms.
Yeah. The old Wonder Woman approach.
Yeah.
Well, there's the nasty scimitar fellow who's attacked you. Also the scattergun guy who's very, very close. Which one do you do that to?
It might be easier if I had more distance, so the scimitar guy probably.
Okay, nasty scimitar guy. And I don't know whether the scimitar is nasty or whether he's nasty. Maybe a little bit of both. But, yeah, he's going to have to make a nimbleness test and not let that happen. His nimbleness is only 10, and he rolls a 12. So suddenly he's... Hey, didn't Boba Fett do that to somebody once? Yeah, I think he did it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think probably 1,000 times. Boba Fett did that like twice a week to somebody. But, so yeah, the cable suddenly sweep around his arms. He looks up in surprise with his big cat eyes. And he's immobilized for the moment. It's their turn, of course. I think I'd love to give him this very guy. I would love to give Nasty Scimitar Guy a chance to try to bust out of here, but he doesn't. Rolls an 18. That was his turn. He's still immobilized. However, his ally with the scattergun is not one to sit idly by while this occurs. He points the bulky scattergun at you, Xavier, and fires at you, doing, I hate to say, 5 points of damage. I believe that may have... Yeah, and I believe that may have forced you to make a save for critical damage.
Yeah, it would be 2... I guess it goes to vitality?
Yeah, it cuts into your vitality.
Okay, and then I make... what do I need to roll?
You need to roll whatever... How far did it cut into your vitality?
2.
Okay, so normally you would roll an 11 for vitality, but you roll a 9 or less to stay in the fight. It's a terrible hit.
Okay, 9 or less. Nope. I'm
No,
out.
he's down. Boom. Okay, well, you're not dead. You'll die in an hour, but you're in trouble. Of course, remember, once they can wake you up, you can still get the guts back with just a short rest and whatever. You just be down a little bit on your vitality. So, but you're out of it right now. And the other guy, though, I imagine his arms are still pinned. He's kind of like staggering around with pinned arms, The rest of it's trailing to your belt. But, of course, you guys see that happen. And, let's see, who has not gone? It was their turn, right? I got so caught up in the narration.
Yeah, I went last, so... Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's... Yeah.
Yeah, and so, however, our boarding axe friend, his boarding axe is long gone. And he tries to match your pose though, and he comically matches your pugilistic pose, and thrusts at your face with a unarmed attack, doing 1 point of damage. Nice look. He clobbers you in the jaw. That was clearly not Marquis of Queensberry rules. Clearly.
What a foul man you are.
And I think that's it for them. Hook and Chain Guy's just hanging there. And, of course, they've been reduced in numbers, and none of you guys have, so we'll have to see how committed they are to this. But...
I'm afraid my Frenchman is out of the fight.
And, yes, it is. And we're going to go to... that was their turn, so now it's your turn already again. And let's go ahead and... The camera's still in here on you, Filbert, and this other guy pugilistically battling. And, of course, yes, out of a corner of your eye, you see Xavier go down.
Well, seeing Xavier go down to the scattergun guy, I believe, will cause Filbert to about-face towards the scattergun guy and attempt to... he'll run over there and try to wrest the scattergun away from him, while shouting, "That was my Frenchman, you bastard!"
Yeah, my Frenchman. Yeah, never touch a man's Frenchman. And, yeah, you grip the scattergun, and he's grabbing it, and you guys wrestle it back and forth. He's got to make a vitality roll to hold on to it. And he rolls a 15, which is not going to do it. So you've, yanked it out of his hands. And, meanwhile, our good friend Xavier is unfortunately... not able to do much at the moment, although I like to think he's dimly aware of what's going on as if laying there in its shadow world of semi-consciousness. And, Doctor, what do you do?
Okay, so
There's a guy with the nasty scimitar guy is stumbling around with pinned arms still, and scattergun guy is just been.
He just got he just got disarmed, didn't he?
Scattergun guy.
Yeah, I think everybody's disarmed now, aren't they? Except the grappling hook guy.
Yeah, and he's just hanging there. He's hoping, and you forget about him.
Yeah.
I'm
going to grab the scatter.
He's starting to get some real cramps in his hand, though.
You're going to grab it from me?
Oh, I thought you just knocked it out of his hands and it was on the bridge.
Yanked it out of his hand.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can have it if you want it. I would not give a lady a scattergun, no, I don't think.
I'll show you. You're just afraid. Fearful man.
So what do you do?
I'm going to kick him in the balls, I guess.
Right. Which guy? The stumbling, arm-pinned, nasty scimitar guy, or the scattergun guy? With no scattergun.
Scattergun guy.
Yeah, kick him in the balls. Roll a d4 for damage. That guy's already taken some damage. 3. Okay. Well, believe it or not, he's got to make a. That took him down to below 1. I mean, he's -1. He's got to make a vitality. So he's got to roll a 9 or less, and oh dear God, rolls a 12. So you kick him in the balls, his Saturnian balls, so hard, literally like he blacks out, and he's already taken damage. Falls to the ground unconscious.
I think his balls should have like ice rings around each one.
Yeah. That was so funny. Totally they should. And and then there's just now the nasty scimitar is like he just starts to run, even though his arms are pinned, he's just trying to run for the end of the bridge awkwardly. But he kind of like stumbles and does like a face plant and skids for a little bit, and by now the Jovian police, Jopo, are coming up with their their tall, constable-like helmets and their stun batons. Look like those little billy clubs, but these actually quiver little stun batons that they've got. They're coming up at this point, though. What's all this, then? And they pick that guy up. They haul him to his feet. You're nicked, my lovely, one of them says. Another comes up. Well, what's all this? A melee on the bridge? A fracas? What? What do you have to say for yourselves?
These Saturnians attacked us unprovoked.
Men are talking. Be quiet. No, just kidding.
I know. Your character is just going to finally get us canceled completely. The disclaimer, like...
That was a bit far even for my...
Right. Filbert's time. Look at those Disney Channel disclaimers. Filbert's views represent the views of his time. Does not condone it, but be aware as you... Yeah.
I must say, my good man, my Frenchman, and the good lady doctor here have comported themselves quite well in this fight with the Saturnians, who completely unprovoked just attacked us out of nowhere.
Well, we talked with the crowd coming in. You attracted quite an audience, and they all seemed square. They were the aggressors. Well, Saturnians will be Saturnians. This lot'll spend at least a few nights in the pokey, and then they're going right back to Saturn. And... Come on, you! And they've been gathering them up, and they just believe your story. Let you guys.
Well, am I still knocked out?
Or we'll have to get to that.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and they just need to provide stabilizing care. No one's got to roll anything. They just got to wake you up. Now that you're awake, you can have you can sit there, have a rest.
Okay. I was hoping that that one guy was still like hanging there, hoping that. We forgot about him.
He is, and you didn't. Everybody had, but you.
Oh, okay. So once the Jopo goes away, I'm gonna walk over to the guy hanging there and just pry his little fingers off and say, "Bon voyage."
Yeah. Well, and really, you're prying off the grappling hook. He's hanging on to that, at the end of the chain.
Okay.
But yeah, you pry that off. Bon voyage. He's like, no.
Right. Well, pretend I said that. Yeah.
And he's like, no. And has his last sky trip. And
and hopefully I can get my stretchy cable back too. That was wound around that guy.
Yeah, they put them in their little manacles, and everybody's got their stuff. So, yeah, there's a little park bench at the end of the bridge. You got to sit there for a minute, and they can go get you a shaved ice from a street vendor, let you calm down. So anyone who's lost any guts has got them back. Of course, your vitality loss is still, you're still down 2 vitality. That would take a long rest to get back.
Yeah, I'm going to have to, take a holiday on Venus or some other, planet and get my vitality back.
While we are resting and recovering, I am going to take out my prized sketchbook that I usually use to, sketch interesting, exciting, exotic creatures. I'm going to sketch a little scene of what just went down.
Okay.
Just like the fight, the guy in the net, and the other guy getting the thing knocked out of his hand. Just a single sketch that captures the high points of the action of that fight.
Publish it in your journal someday after you retire. You got to write up your zoological journals full of action and adventure. But
did anyone take the scattergun away from me, or do I still have it?
No, you still have it. You're the proud owner of a scattergun. It does D8 damage, but it's bulky. You can't carry too many more bulky things. It's got a nice scattergun. Generally frowned upon in polite company, which is why the guy had on under his overcoat. But we assume you have a long gentleman's coat or an overcloak of some sort. You can give it not immediately apparent.
Yes, I did not describe such. I neglected to do so, but of course you've seen the photo the picture portrait that I uploaded.
Yes, and I think in this weather a gentleman would be at least not out without his coat. Anyway. So you're still headed you may not go to a holiday on Venus, but you still need to visit Lord Dol De Venus, your sometime employer. And his mansion is on top of that tower that was on the other end of the bridge. There are some other mansions that kind of built into the sides of the tower and your windy ramps as you go up. And but his mansion occupies the top. He's made a great fortune in commerce. And there are 4 spires on each corner of the building, and in the center of those is this great big geodesic dome. And at the door, there's a little Martian servant boy with a turban and clean white clothes who leads you into this central atrium that's actually underneath the geodesic dome. And it's warmer than outside in here. It's like a greenhouse. And it's filled with tropical plants. And in fact, those of you who haven't spent any time on Venus, it's very Venusian. And there's a pool in the middle of the room, and in it is the Lord Dol De Venus. He's actually from Earth. He was just granted estates on Venus at some point, and took the name. But he's very pale and very corpulent, and he's got a thin mustache and slick back hair with a lot of pomade because he's not getting his head under the water. He just kind of leaning back, with his arms on the edge of the pool. But swimming around in the pool are these 3 alluring but really disturbing blue-skinned creatures with great big black anime eyes, but they're sort of girl-like and sort of seal-like, and they're mostly like humanoid women, but with tentacle-like arms and these slimy, sinewy bodies. They're splashing and diving in a pool and emitting this sort of sing-song giggling sound. "Oh, those are the sirens of Titan," says Lord Dol De Venus. They're a recently discovered race on Saturn's lovely moon.
I have heard tell of this.
Yes, well, here they are in the flesh. And speaking of flesh, they're not for everyone, but I've developed a taste for them, shall we say. Never fear, my pets, we shall play later. I have business affairs to attend to. How else do you think I afford to keep us in this state of luxury? And he steps out of the pool, and the little red Martian boy puts his robe on him.
Might I sketch quickly as you dry off and prepare?
Oh, wow.
I'm going to sketch the little dude swimming in the tub.
Yeah, he's those little sirens of Titan. But yeah, he puts on his robe. It's like all royal blue. It's got a little V monogram. He walks over to this little table. There's some chairs. He gestures for you to sit. And the little Martian boy starts making some mint juleps. once everybody's got their mint julep, he goes, all right, let's get down to business, shall we? Now, perhaps you have heard of the legend of the Lodestone ship. Oh, I see you nodding. Of course you have. No self-respecting sky whaler would not have. But, as you know, it's a mysterious floating vessel full of treasure. Nigh impossible to find on purpose because it sends ship's compasses spinning. However, my sources assure me that the Lodestone ship has been sighted in the stratosphere.
I thought it was just a rumor.
No. Well, this is still a rumor, but the rumor is that 2 days sailed to the Jovian west. In the cumulus shoals of the Great Western Spiral, it was seen. Now, that was a few days ago, but we know it's in the vicinity. Now, I know Mr. Glass here has the finest compass ever manufactured. And if any airway pathfinder could reach the Lodestone ship, I believe Mr. Glass has the best chance. You do have a very special compass, do you not, Mr. Glass?
Yes, as you have rightly observed, I do indeed have the most fabulous compass, and certainly not anything, not even the Lodestone itself, could cause my compass to spin wildly. I don't believe such a thing could be possible. It's the most fabulous and accurate compass that has ever existed.
Well, that was indeed the rumor, and that was indeed my hope. That's why I've chosen to offer you a contract. You and your crew here. Now, I understand that you're rather badly you're in some financial embarrassment, I understand, as they say. I may be able to help to rectify that. The terms of my contract offer you £2,000 each, and, as is customary, a quarter share in any profits derived from the Lodestone ship, should you find it and retrieve it for salvage and bring it back here.
A quarter for you, correct?
Oh, no. A quarter for you, and 50% for me, quite frankly. And then a quarter, of course, for the government.
Well, this does not seem fair at all, does it? I don't think so.
No, gentlemen of our persuasion, sir, we do resist taxes. It's a great crime that Gladstone has decided that men of blue blood must engage in taxation. It's scandalous. I'm in much agreement with you, sir.
No, I meant that you take 50% for sitting here doing nothing.
Oh, absolutely. I have the context. I have the context to move.
Exactly.
I have the context to move the merchandise, sir.
Yes, but I have the compass that can get the merchandise.
I see you are determined to drive a hard bargain.
I haven't a choice. The only bargains I drive are the hardest bargains. The longest and hardest bargains. Sorry.
Well, I will say this, sir. Perhaps you are owed a slightly greater percentage. Your forthrightness makes me feel compelled to share with you one other fact I had not thought to bring up. But I did discuss this affair with one other party, Captain Michel. He also had rumor of this Lodestone ship and its recent appearance, and he attempted to get my backing for his own expedition. But I declined his services because of your greater reputation and his unsavory demeanor, to which I took an immediate dislike. And my little sirens didn't like him either. Did you, my pets? We didn't like that nasty man. And they continued to giggle and frolic around. And anyway, he seemed much put out, and I believe he may make an attempt to seek the Lodestone ship himself, although he lacks your fabulous compass. So I do advise caution. And I suppose the other 25%, we can split that 50-50. Whatever 50-50 of the remaining 25 is, I would be very much willing to go halfsies on and have that written up, legal and whatnot in the contract. If that will persuade you.
I think it's worth it to get a chance to explore the Lodestone ship.
Yes, well, I don't think that's quite what I would have had in mind, but I do agree that it would be quite the experience to test my compass out against this fabled Lodestone ship.
Well, then it's all settled in, he says, rudely interrupting. But
rude.
only due to being oblivious, not misogynistic. He interrupts the doctor. And goes, it appears then that you do have work to do, and I must return to my diversions. So good luck and Godspeed, friends. And he gets up, and the little Martian boy takes his robe off, and you get a nice big glimpse, if you want to sketch that, as he steps back down into the pool.
I do not. I'm continuing to make little notes about the cute little creatures in the tub.
If you haven't picked up on it yet, God only knows what he's going to do with those cute little creatures in the tub, the second you guys leave the room.
It's disgusting.
Quite.
I'm going to vomit. We must get out of here now.
Well,
fortunately, I don't think that little nub will do much damage.
The little Martian boy escorts you out, and luckily your aerial bark is docked at a strut not far from here. And earlier I said something about in the background, let your minds think about a possible name for your aerial bark. We don't want to take much time with it, but anyone have any ideas in the meantime? Did anything float up from your subconscious?
I mean, when you say bark, I thought I was trying to think of like a dog name.
Yeah, like dog pun.
Yeah, like a dog pun, but that was as far as I got.
There's Reaver, the Reaver, the Retriever, the
Rover.
The Rover. Yeah, those are all good.
You want to do a dog pun?
Rover.
Well, I do think that those are rather plain names, but as long as it starts with HMS, that's what I particularly care about.
Well,
or Jover.
The HMS
Jover.
Rover.
Like Jover.
HMS Jover. Rover. Explover.
Explover.
Sorry, that's...
well, Jover is funny enough that it started Rover, morphed to Jover. And it's a Jover, it traverses Jove. It's a Jover. Yeah. What class of ship you got there? She's a Jover. Yep. Yeah. So, HMS... The HMS not being official, but if you're former military, you know how you kind of always get to keep your rank or whatnot. Maybe you're entitled to have a little HMS license plate, right? On the Jover. Yeah. So, of course, it is Britain that's colonized Jupiter. Not all of its moons, but Jupiter itself is definitely firmly in British hands. Never mind that they've got this southern nobleman here, but... he's obviously, he's not even part of the local aristocracy anyway. Again, he's scandalously commercial. But you did your wheeling and dealing with him, and I assume, since the HMS Jover is docked at a strut not far from here, that you would probably like to get underway, I assume, right?
Yeah, I don't have any other plans immediately, unless we want to just take a long rest before we depart, but that seems a bit
that
much.
was my only thought was...
Well, I don't know if we want to take a week off right now. Who won't go,
Yeah, not when we just got our contract. He probably is not expecting us to take a week off.
True.
Well, and...
get to it on our, lazily...
Cat aggro's coming, warning.
And then, of course, there is the sinister... Captain Michel, who could also be some...
Oh, yeah, we don't want to let him get to it first.
No. Although he probably doesn't have as good a chance of finding it as you guys do. But, you depart from the docking strut and leave Port Hallwark. And Jovian winds feel fresh on your faces as you sail out of the floating city and into the swirling wilderness of sky. And we assume you head Jovian west to where the Lodestone ship was seen, 2 days sail from the city. And you travel for about half a day seeing nothing but flocks of bubble birds and some blimp frogs floating around in the distance, nothing close enough to catch with your net. But every now and then in the distance, zoologically speaking, you see a predator kite, which is a shark-like kind of ray-type creature, but it's shaped literally like kind of a child's kite, kind of diamond-shaped, rides the wind currents, but it wouldn't attack any of you. It only eats creatures with buoyancy sacks. But sometimes they get confused and they come attack the buoyancy tanks of aerial barks, but the ones you see are far away and no immediate threat. And by the time the Jovian twilight begins to fall, you've entered a region of pretty deep cloud, and you realize you have reached the cumulus shoals of the Great Western Spiral. It's this great ever-present swirl that's been around for hundreds of years. They call it the cumulus shoals. It's where they say, at least in this general vicinity, that the Lodestone ship was sighted, but it's probably done some drifting since then. And the cumulus shoals are very big, covering great expanse of sky, but you're at least in the right vicinity.
Well, I will, of course, check my compass to see if it is spinning.
It is not spinning, so you're obviously not that close yet, but you're in the... At least so far, you've followed the clues correctly, and you're in the place where it was supposedly seen. Now, visibility's poor here, not only because of the heavy cloud cover, but also because it is getting to be night. It never gets fully dark here. There's enough electromagnetism in the atmosphere that there's always kind of a psychedelic lava lamp-like murk, even at night here on Jupiter. But suddenly a vast movement below you catches everyone's eye. I imagine you rushing to the rail, looking over, and you catch a glimpse of a huge pink and purple mottled bulk. The body of a great sky whale drifting below, and not just any sky whale, but its pattern identifies it as none other than Blubberella. And part of her still visible through a cloud bank. Do you guys want to run to your harpoon guns, or do you want to let Blubberella be and go about your business? If you could get her sweet ambergris, then maybe that plus the Lodestone ship job, if successful, could pay off your entire 10,000-pound debt.
I want to draw her.
Divided because I think I want to cash in, but her sight is so beautiful, I can only just stand in awe.
She's magnificent.
Does anyone want to go after her at all?
I am immobile.
Well, if you lot won't do it, I suppose I shall have to.
Gentlemen, do not be swayed by sentiment. And you rush over to one of the harpoon guns, and I figure there's conveniently like three, right? There's 1, 4, and one on either side. But they're attached to huge coils of rope. And, she's disappearing into a cloud bank, but you can certainly... Da-dunk! And it'll do D4 damage to her. But it's just like ship scale damage here. And, like if you were shooting this gun at a person, it'd be like D12. But 3 points of damage. Now, her great blubber, they don't call her Blubberella for nothing. But she'll soak 1 of that and take 2. But this great, loud, elephantine diesel engine sound of pain roars out in the skies around you as Blubberella feels the pain of the harpoon piercing her thick, beautiful pink and purple flesh. And she suddenly lunges, and she's going to try to snap the cable. She's taking the damage, but she isn't like being hooked on, with the rope, which is uncoiling. You comically put your feet out of the way as it starts to uncoil. Now, of course, as you imagine, her vitality is huge, right? It's an 18. She's got an 18 or less, and she was a 13. So she's still hurt, but she snaps the cable, which is probably good for you, because you're not going to have the whole ship dragged behind her as she starts to dive. And she goes down into the murk. But you know what she'll do. She's just going to lurk down there. I mean, she can't survive down there forever. It's high pressure for her, too. And she'll wait for you to leave. Now, the only way you could go after her is if you had a very, very brave deep atmosphere diver on board who could get one of these harpoons and be lowered down in there and poke her eyes out or something. And, yeah. So, what do you think?
Well, any chance to go down into the deep atmosphere, I am good. I will take.
Yes, good. I was going to tell you to snap out of it and get to it. We must capture this blubberella while she's still around.
Yes, I am a sky whaler, so I will do my duty, and I will happily go down into the atmosphere. That is when I am at most at peace. Just me and the swirling gases.
Okay. Well, and I assume there's like a great big like winch type thing, right? That like unrolls your big scratchy cable so they can lower you down in. And so you snap shut the lid, the little helmet of your deep atmosphere suit, and you probably ready your barometer, and you guys lower him on the stretchy cable down into the seething murk of the deep atmosphere, and as you watch his body slowly disappear, and we won't see him again until our next episode, when we'll find out what happens. Next time on Sky Whalers of Jupiter.
Hey everybody, if you like our podcast, don't forget to leave us a good rating and or review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, or wherever you're able. Subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at Goonies_world, and check out our website at GooniesWorldPodcast.com. Email us at GooniesWorldPodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.